What could go wrong? In short, I am on marriage number 2. Was cheated on in first M and my current wife and I are in marriage help. E only, no PA, texting, pictures, phone time. I outed my wife's AP to his wife. My wife has basically rug swept my EA with an ex-GF I hadn't seen in 20 years but was still talking to. My wife knew I was talking to my AP, however, she kept hers secret for our entire 10-year M at the time. I discovered. We are both in RIM and IC. D-Day was late 2016. Well, that's it. I look forward to speaking with you all as we navigate this crap storm. I am divorced and remarried. I am on second marriage. We have both cheated, having EAs and are trying to forget about the first marriage. It's unimportant. It was a horrible go for about 2 years after D-Day. However, at the advice of my cardiologist, I started taking a SSRI about 6 months ago. It has changed my mood completely. It was brought back peace in my M. After years of talking about D, things have been really good between us. We have been kind and caring partners again. Best of all, it has taken away my desire to go down that rabbit hole and spend days, if not weeks, of being angry and depressed. It has also balanced out my need for bonding. I have always been HD, she was always LD. Through lots of communication, we are now 2 times a week, which seems to work well for both of us. I've been divorced from XW since 2004, I am since remarried. I had 3 kids with my ex. In 2008, she wanted to move to another state and take my 2 sons with her. My daughter had already been living with me and my now wife. We agreed to no more child support and she will support my 2 boys from here on in. We signed an agreement which I typed up quickly. She moved, married her AP, which was my stepbrother I have known since for 30 years, my mother's husband's son. Anyway, I hear nothing from her until 2016. I no longer have been paying CS due to our agreement. I get a letter from her lawyer demanding $240,000 in back CS. I hired a lawyer and filed right away in Supreme Court for breach of contract and to uphold the contract we both signed that I never filed with the court. This was our strategy for keeping it out of family court. 3 years later, after decisions and appeals, $40,000 in legal fees, I received the decision yesterday. In a 5-page decision she was awarded nothing, no CS, no lawyer fees, nothing. All 3 of my kids are now emancipated. Not surprising, my only child to make anything of themselves is my daughter who lived with me. She is active in the Army National Guard and is going to college to become a nurse. My 2 boys who went to live with the ex and my stepbrother never went to college. One is working at Domino's and the other is a busboy at a diner. It is such a shame. The $40,000 certainly hurt, but it is satisfying knowing she got none of it. I finally got justice after all of these years. As for my ex, she is 48, unemployed and living off of disability and any other handout she can get. Thankfully, that handout didn't come from me. I should also add that the reason my daughter came to live with me was because when she was 6, 2 years after our divorce, she told a teacher that she was touched by my stepbrother, my wife's AP she was living with. He was arrested. The state was never able to prove anything other than what a 6-year-old had to say. No matter to my ex, she signed my daughter over to me and went ahead and married the guy anyway. There is a special place in hell for this woman. I also came from a broken home and was living on my own at 16, living on friends' couches. Both of my parents were not good people and both had died by the time I was 30. Guess what? I still made something of myself. Went to college and got a good career. I wasn't a failure and didn't throw my hands up in the air and quit because of my situation. I am remarried, unhappily, with 8-year-old twins. They are my world. I continue to support my older daughter who has no relationship with her brothers because they never believed she was X when she was 6. There was no way I was going to get my 2 sons ... ever. There is so much more to the story. You may think I'm a crappy dad and you have your opinion. However, I disagree. You can save those that don't want to be saved. I am rebuilding me. I'm no longer the doormat I've been most times of my life. Sorry that you have a problem with my name as well. I hope life brings you peace. Update. Divorcing the current one. Things I won't miss. Dishonesty. Silent treatment for days, sometimes weeks. Mother-in-law crossing boundaries the entire 12-year M. Coming into my house 3 hours before having to take the kids off the bus. Treating my house as if it was hers. Taking pictures of my daughter off the wall and replacing them with her pictures she likes. Setting myself up for no bonding or disappointing bonding. Paying extra for her health insurance because she gets a stipend. Then, when the $5K stipend comes, she pays off her credit card or buys herself something. Seeing her mom 7 days a week because her mom is her best friend. Asking permission if I can take out kids out. Being told I'm unsafe to be around our kids because I take meds. Won't go to counseling because she's a great wife and mother and the problem is me. I'm tired, want to HJ tonight. Being told my daughter is not allowed to ever step foot in her house again. We both own the house. Wondering who she is sending or receiving nude photos from. Constant phone usage. Never feeling like a priority in the M, not even top 3. Making excuses to my family for her. Arguing on every family vacation, so that is what I end up remembering. Causing me to go down the rabbit hole one too many times at 2 a.m. Opting to sleep with my 8-year-old daughter instead of me. In my kids' 8 years of life, never having them by myself a single night. Not having boundaries with exes or anyone of the opposite gender. Living with a slob that relies on her mother to wash her dishes, clothes, and make her 44-year-old daughter's bed. Did I mention dishonesty? I am going through a D but still living with my STBX and our 2 twins. I am trying to focus on myself and not worry about what she is up to, but it is so damn difficult. I see all the new clothes, underwear, the comings and goings, her head buried in her phone all the time, texting, making plans, etc. Here are some of the things I am doing. Moved into my own room, joined a gym, cut back on alcohol, been more involved in my older daughter's life and wedding plans, still seeing I see every 2 weeks, spending more time with my kids here at home and taking them out more, lost 35 pounds and am very close to my goal weight, reading Rationale Mail. Some of the things I think I can be doing. Reconnecting with friends, picking up a hobby, don't know what though. I did schedule an appointment for a memorial tattoo for my dad that I always wanted but decided against years ago. I am still compelled to snoop when she's not home and it makes me feel weak. I don't think I'd have these issues or feelings if I was out of the house, but that is not an option right now. Just a bit of an update. I reconnected with college friends last night for a poker game. I hadn't seen some of these guys in over a year. I mentioned the divorce towards the middle of the night and I got the usual "I'm sorry what happened," etc. After we wrapped up at about 2 a.m., most of the guys left. 2 hung back to talk to me more privately. They share their own struggles with their marriages and kids. We hung out another 2 hours. It was so wonderful to have their support. One actually offered me a place to stay if I ever needed to just get out. I was so happy I went last night. You really know who your true friends are when you're down and out. Coming home last night it really hit me that I am going to make it through this. Update. So currently in an IHS, our first divorce hearing is next week. We don't get along, we don't speak and it's contentious. On Valentine's Day, I came home the doctor after work to a note that my kids and STBX were sleeping at her mom's. I was not given the option to keep them with me. Come to find out she spent the night with an ex-BF and picked up the kids the next morning and came back home. Getting in the shower last night she knocks on the door and asks if I am going out. I say no. She says she is dropping off something at a friend's house and will be back in 20 minutes. She comes back 2 hours later and we pass each other in the hall. I say something like last night's booty call wasn't enough, you went back again. She looked like she saw a ghost. She had no idea I knew. Man, didn't think this would hit me so hard to find out she's getting laid. I'm bummed this weekend. Lord, I can't wait for this to be over and I get out of this house. Yes, I documented everything. The kids will be appointed a court law guardian and I have a lot of notes on her behavior. We don't speak at all. I broke down yesterday in my room all afternoon. She insisted on coming in because she was worried about me and the door was locked. I let her in. She was asking what was wrong. I didn't answer, I was just crying. My brother called and invited me to dinner with him and sister-in-law. I needed that. This morning she offered to buy me out of the house. I told her we would get an appraisal. If she's serious, this would be a huge step in the right direction for me. Fingers crossed. Making some headway. Court is next week, so the time to negotiate has come. I think a lot of hinges on if I agree to joint legal custody but giving her residential custody. I haven't agreed to that yet because that opens me up to CS. But if she's willing to let me have the kids at least one night a week and every other weekend, it's a starting point. If she's flexible on the finances and willing to buy me out of the house, for my own sanity I'd have to consider it. She's not a skank. She's just light years ahead of me in this process and has apparently been done for quite some time now. She's obviously ready to date and has found someone and I am not ready. I think the fact that she found someone gives her a soft landing, thus the sudden willingness to negotiate. My state is a tough state to get divorced in. People can get hurt, painfully. I'm looking to avoid that hit. I will also say that the process of having a court-appointed law guardian interview us and then the kids, asking 8-year-old if they'd rather live with mommy or daddy, who feeds you, who does your homework, who gives you showers, makes me sick to my stomach. I can't imagine putting them through that. This process is so screwed up. In my mind, these kids are going to be 9. Before I know it, they will be teenagers. At that time, they are going to pick when they want to come and when they don't. When they want to hang out with friends and when they want to hang out with dad, mom. Why not negotiate favorable financial terms now? The decisions now will have lasting effects, financially and for the children. I don't make any of these decisions lightly and I won't do anything without my attorney's advice. I am staying in my brother's apartment. He offered it months ago but I didn't want to leave. Now I have to. It's about 30 minutes away but it's brand new and it's free. I was in the ER with chest pain 7 hours today. I can't stay here any longer. I've been her live nanny while she goes out on dates several nights a week, flaunting it in my face with her 4-hour yoga classes. I will be better off when I don't see this anymore. We have court on Monday. I will tell my attorney then. If he tells me to move back, I will. She made me another offer today. We are getting close. I will end up paying CS. It will be a 60/40 split with time. She will buy me out of our house and give me out my investment condo with no buyout. She's a teacher and her work schedule mesh with the kids' numerous days, weeks, summers off. Mine does not. I'm doing what I need to do to move on. My 40% time with the kids will be even more special for all three of us. Just to be clear, she was offering every other weekend. That's 4 out of 28 days. I asked for 2 days the week and every other weekend. More importantly, I moved into my brother's tonight and felt right at home. I'm hoping for some out-of-sight, out-of-mind correction in me, and not a pushover. I needed to get out of the house to gain clarity, and I've done that. I've read all the books and red pill stuff and father's rights, etc. I understand it all and agree with most of it. This has nothing to do with her and I. This has everything to do with what is best for me and my children. I am capable of anything, but I also know my limitations. I am considering everything, I really am. No option is off the table. I will do what is in the best interests of my children and me. Nothing will get done out of spite for her. No, she's not my friend, nor do I think about her that way during negotiations. I started this thread to let my feelings of hurt, anger, and sadness come out. Those feelings don't win her any points with me. If I settle for less than 50-50, it's because that's what I felt was best, not for anyone else's benefit. Coincidentally, after I went to my brother's, her attorney adjourned next week's hearing for another 2 weeks. The plan could have been to wait me out, then move for emergency relief for child support effective immediately. So, it was a visit to help my brother after he had surgery last month. It was also a much-needed break after my chest pains due to stress and anxiety. I am back home. No harm, no foul. The kids were off from school this week anyhow, and I'll be getting them ready for school and putting them on the bus next week like Daddy always does. My time will come. Now wasn't it? Update, I had my first appointment with the kids' law guardian today. He said that in today's world, as long as both parents live close by or in the same school district, the courts will likely decide on 50-50 custody and visitation. Unless one or more of the children strongly object to either parent, this is not the case. 50-50 is likely. He also said he knows STBX's attorney, and he is also sure her attorney knows this as well. He then spoke to each of my kids individually. I know this is only meeting one, and she will be meeting with him and the kids next month and will give a different version of events, but he seemed very fair and reasonable. I left his office optimistic. Update, still in IHS and came to a head last week when we got heated in an argument. I took out my phone to record it. She went to smack it out of my hands and hit me. She took the kids to her mother's house. She was gone for 4 days. I called the police and so did she. She came back to the house, by herself, every day she was gone. Once was to take a shower and then leave her dildo out at my bedroom door with a note that read, "Don't need this one either. When it's good, it's good." The next day she came to bang on my bedroom door excessively while I was on a work Skype call with me team. We both made emergency petitions to kick each other out of the house and the judge denied them both. The petition that my lawyer drew up did put a spotlight on her, and the judge now knows she's not the squeaky clean housewife, teacher that she portrays herself to be. I need this to come to an end. No further negotiations. The judge saw the photo of the dildo and her note as well as video of her banging on my door trying to interfere with my career. He still denied both motions, and my attorney said the bar is really, really high to have someone thrown out of the house, especially now. My lawyer said this was a wake-up call for her lawyer. He knows now what type of client he now has. Neither of us won our motions, didn't think we would, but my papers, exhibits, photos and videos, and police report were so much better than hers and put this case in a new direction. It totally changed the narrative. I wish this would work. I offered a nesting plan of 3 days a week for each of us since I can stay with my brother and she can stay with her parents. She rejected it. My attorney insisted on a nesting plan this last weekend while both motions were being heard on Monday. She countered with her being gone 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday and I was gone 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Easter. Thankfully nothing happened at night. She will not spend even one night without her kids. I have a body cam I wear at all times. Mostly we take out our phones and record when we think the other is not behaving appropriately. Let's just say that I have 10x more footage than she does, because she provides it. My attorney is actually very good and well respected. His papers and affidavit were far superior to hers, in every way possible. The evidence was also. At the end of the day though, the judge wasn't kicking either of us out of the house. Divorced filed 4 months ago. I have my initial meeting with court-appointed law guardian Monday for the kids and me. I am in a spare bedroom and have been for months. However, all my clothes and bathroom, shower I use is in the master BR that STBX uses, and my daughter sleeps with her every night. I am in the room often, for my own use or to interact with the kids if they are in there watching TV. Today, I hear her close the door and get into the shower. The door was not locked. I waited for her to go in the shower because I didn't want to see her. I needed clothes. I go in and see a pen on the bed, so I pick it up to move it. However, this ain't no ordinary pen. It's heavy with a small red light. I open it up and it's a recording device and it was on. I took the pen and emailed my attorney. She knows the pen is gone but hasn't confronted me yet. Thoughts, other than she is really, really stupid. I don't feel like I should be recorded in my own house going through a divorce. Also, who knows how many others are in the house, catching conversations between me and my kids. I don't think this helps her at all, and I will give it to my attorney as evidence. Maybe it's just a non-issue. Who knows? Update: I downloaded the device and there were about 25 recordings on it. She was a part of all the recordings, so at least she didn't leave it in another room and walk away and listen in on my conversation with my kids, attorney, etc. Nothing I could use. She has already replaced her pen with another one, and this one she keeps on her at all times and will take it out, click it in my face. Things have been hostile. She's interfering with me working from home, blasting her country music on her phone when I'm on a conference call, shutting off the router, turning on the radios and TVs when I'm on a work call. We've come nose to nose a couple of times, but I walked away. I bought a body cam and have it on me at all times. It's not hidden and I am using it to protect myself, and so far, it has worked like bug spray. My attorney is aware of everything that's going on. He offered a nesting plan to her attorney yesterday in light of the lockdown. He has not heard back, but I know she will not leave this house even for a night, so it will be a hard no. But in making the offer, we show that we are being flexible and reasonable. She can decline. About 2 weeks ago, the kids and I had our first appointment with the law guardian. She questioned the kids that night on what they spoke to their attorney about, inappropriate, and the kids both said their attorney asked them who they wanted to live with. She asked them how they answered and they both said mommy and daddy. That has thrown her into frenzy. She now fears she may lose 50%. Her back is against the wall and she's trying to bait me into doing something stupid. I've been 2 steps ahead of her this entire divorce. Update: I'm going through a divorce, about 10 months in the making, very contentious. Met a new girl about 5 weeks ago. We live at separate locations. Neither of us have met the other one's kids, etc. We see each other about twice a week. We've hit it off and have had the exclusivity talk. We have both taken down our dating profiles. We both have a few days next month where neither of us have our kids and have planned a 3-day getaway. We both took off from our jobs. We haven't said "I loves you" or anything like that. Yet we have both been told by our single friends we are moving too fast. Our married friends have not said that. I'm 49 and she is 48. She's divorced already, about 2 years, and I'm trying to get divorced for the second time. Since she has kids, we had the future talk pretty early on. If she wanted to get married again someday, I didn't want her wasting her time with me. We both have good careers. She has her kids most of the time. I am fighting for 50-50. Her ex has them for a week in August during a weekend. I don't have mine, so the time have worked for a quick vacation. She works in healthcare and gets tested regularly. I have 5 kids with 2 wives. 3 are in their 20s and live out of state. I have 8-year-old twins with STBX number 2 that I am fighting for custody. The vacation was a mutual thing. It wasn't proposed by one or the other. We are splitting the costs 50-50. She keeps telling me her friend thinks she's moving too fast, but she keeps telling me she feels it and is going with it. Neither of us knows what moving too fast really means. We feel we are keeping the kids out of it for now, which we believe is all that really matters. I think others may assume we are moving fast because they don't know our backgrounds. She's been divorced, I've been divorced, and with both of us approaching 50, we already know what we are looking for in another person. Thinking back on it, I mentioned it prior to our first date, which was about a week or so when we were first talking. She asked me my thoughts on marriage. I was very upfront and she agreed and said she feels the same way. She is 48 with 3 boys. I told her that I wouldn't be interested in cohabitating with someone else either. She said she doesn't have strong feelings one way or the other. She did say that she liked her space and coming home to a clean house. That's when she mentioned the Goldie and Kurt relationship and said that's what she wanted, minus the open part. So, to answer your question, all of this came out in our first initial discussions prior to us meeting. Now, over a month later, we still talk about it and we still agree. However, I suppose she can change her mind down the road. I understand that. Half a year later, I'm going through divorce number 2. I was cheated on in both of my marriages. I am not a big fan of Facebook because of this. My GF is on Facebook all the time. She knows I don't like it. I don't want to change her, but I'm protecting myself. I've dropped hints but it doesn't click. Now I do have a FB account, but I never post and I am never on it. Is this enough of a red flag? Am I just looking to demolish a relationship? I know it's my choice. I just wish I had put on my profile that if you're addicted to social media, please swipe left. She's probably on 15 to 20 times a day. I know how FB ruins marriages. I've personally been through it. I absolutely hate it. The other night she said she was going to bed. I went on after midnight and saw her on there. I cringed. I don't want to sound controlling, cause I'm not. I just feel like this is a movie I've starred in before. I understand that the problem is more with me and not with her. These are my triggers. Hopefully, someday, they won't be as triggering for me. That said, I am going to speak to her today and let her know, nicely, why they are my triggers. She knows I carry baggage. She probably thought it was just an overhead bag but doesn't know I have 2 more checked bags. Infidelity really messes with your mind and heart. Trust is so hard for me now. To answer someone's question, FB is how my STBX found her ex and had a 10-year relationship behind my back until I woke up and caught them. I don't blame FB, I blame my STBX. But I can't help but wonder when I see anyone on FB, who are they really talking to? For further clarity, GF told me about a married guy on the West Coast she was talking to. It got personal. Sounded like Ania she told him to go be with his wife and work it out. This was right before I met her. I just found out they've been in contact. Guess how? FB Messenger. Before anyone asks, she deletes all her texts and messages. Now to be honest, I have female friends that I text with. However, I don't use FB and don't ever delete texts. GF asks about them but doesn't seem to mind. I let her know when we text. She'll ask how they are doing. Stuff like that. Her talking to a guy on the other coast wasn't a major issue. I talked to females also. The issue for me was it restarted. I found out 2 months later and the texts were deleted. There is no reason to delete texts other than you don't want them ever to be found. She said it was to free up space on her phone. I don't think she is cheating for a minute. I'm not new to this rodeo, but I do think she has some bad habits. Her divorce did not end because infidelity. To her credit, he reached out to her on Messenger last week. She said he does this so his wife doesn't see, and she told me about it. It was to wish her a happy birthday. He won't post on her timeline. The guy sounds rather creepy and it appears to me that he is looking for a virtual hookup, exactly as my STBX did. Almost mirror images of one another. So yes, it's very, very triggering for me. 1 year later, I found out the other day that my GF of 2 years never blocked the guy from Seattle and has been speaking to him through Messenger sometimes at 1 or 2 a.m. This guy is married. She's admitted that he has feelings for her. I don't know if he's a high school sweetheart or not. She's tight-lipped about the entire relationship. Anyway, the messages I saw were not physical, just this guy going through marriage problems and my GF giving advice and telling him to call her. Who knows how many calls, texts as she deletes everything. She's not open, transparent. When confronted, she said I can't control her and she can speak to whomever she wants. She, of course, said he's just a friend. She couldn't understand my anger and hurt from her lying to me that she cut him off over a year ago. So, I had to help her understand. Last night we went for drinks with her best friend and husband. It was an outdoor bar at the beach and they were shooting off fireworks. I hit on and picked up the cute 20-something-year-old waitress right in front of GF and her friends. The girl and I watched the fireworks together. When it was over, she was going to give me her number. I told her it was nice to meet you and good night. GF didn't say a word to me in the car ride home. I texted her last night that's what it's like to be in a relationship with no boundaries. Is that what you want? She responded that I proved my point and she understood my message. It truly is spot on that most women want men that other women want. I had no preconceived plans on doing what I did last night. The opportunity just arose and obviously could have backfired. It didn't. Hey, at least I know I still got it. And yes, I realize I'm in a dysfunctional relationship with GF. Where we go from here is anyone's guess. She texted me this morning she's reading about emotional affairs. For 51 years, I'm still searching for an honest, safe partner. They seem to be like unicorns. To be honest, I mentioned the IA and sent her a screenshot of what an IA was last night. She claims she was up all night researching what an IA was. However, as of this morning, she was still friends with him on FB. I pointed that out, and she quickly deleted him. She took full credit, but I knew otherwise. Grade 1 shady. So, about a week ago she was hacked. She came over my house seeking assistance on creating new passwords on all of her apps, FB, banking, etc. She left her FB profile up on my laptop, which is how I discovered she was still speaking to Seattle. I didn't see any other social media. She supposedly deleted him. She apparently didn't. He is deleted now, but now is too late for me. I don't think their relationship is physical at all, just support for each other. Him likely venting about his wife, or venting about me when we fight. I just found out she reached back out to him in February of this year when we were having some issues. Seems to be a pattern for these two. I don't even know how they know each other, but he does live on the other side of the country. Nothing good can ever come from talking to married dude at 2 a.m. I'm a lot of things, but stupid isn't one of them. I'll also say that GF gets up at 6 a.m. to go to work 6 days a week. We usually hang up by 11 p.m. So, yeah, there's something about 2 a.m. talks that make me want to. I'm feeling disappointed about the entire thing. 2 years is a long time. My kids really like her. We have a cruise with both families coming up in August that's already paid for. It just makes me question everyone's judgment. I know there was no cheating or any photos or anything. But there obviously is something about her being addicted to this guy in some emotional way. Like she feels compelled to be his voice of reason. My past and baggage doesn't help. I'm very sensitive to deception. Anyway, I haven't seen her since this all went down. I've agreed to meet her tonight as she asked that I hear her out. She wants to tell me the entire history of her relationship with this guy and why she would seek out his advice and opinions. She also wants to apologize for betraying my trust and wants to know what she can do to support me or make me feel more comfortable. She's never had interest in anyone else since the day she met me. She's deeply in love with me and is embarrassed and hurt by what she did to me. We'll see. My comment. The final update. OP is single again. I think one thing OP should try is focus on himself, because the best 50-year-old out there. Maybe then he will find a young woman who will appreciate him. You can't control other people. You can only control yourself.